Coming in at number 10, we have the story of Chloe Ayling. The dark web is used for unfortunately, that is a simple fact. Now, most of us are luckily ignorant to this, but it is still very much happening. In mid-2017, it seems that a group calling itself Black Death lured a 20-year-old model, Chloe Ayling, to a photo shoot in Milan, Italy. The shoot was bogus, and the British model was then snatched, bundled into a bag by the group. Now, they planned to sell her or claim ransom of 300,000 euros for her. The model was eventually freed 6 days after her capture, and her captors, Michael and Lucas Herber, were arrested. The Black Death group is a real group of humans who use the dark web to sell to buyers in the Middle East. It's disgusting. Okay, this one is a bit of an urban legend. We have Mariana's Web at number 9. Mariana's Web is the name supposedly given to the deepest, darkest parts of the dark web, and it gets its name from Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. Few have ever gone this deep, so it's hard to bring you confirmed stories, although I will say there are some intense rumors circulating about what this super encrypted site holds. According to a number of urban legends, this is where the darkest secrets in humanity are hiding, as well as the Vatican secret archives, evidence of alien life forms, artificial intelligence, and the location of Atlantis. While a lot of people think that Mariana's Web is pure anecdotal creepypasta, others are convinced it's real. Honestly, pedestrians like you and me will probably never know. Sometimes the dark web meets the mainstream web, and it is terrifying. Let's talk about the horrifying case of Colin Henson, a Vine user captured by a twisted YouTuber. This is all coming into number 8. So you guys may have heard a little bit about this one in our live stream, but I want to go a little bit deeper into this really scary deep web story. Colin Henson went missing soon after he began posting on social media in January 2015. It seemed like he really enjoyed Vine. In one video, Colin shared his adventure to an abandoned mental asylum in Arkansas, which he says was about a mile away from his house. Rather than just sharing some footage of the outside, Colin made the mistake of venturing in. At first he jokes around a bit, but things take a dark turn when he comes across a cow mask, which is really weird. After that, the vines get pretty nasty. Someone clearly has Colin's phone, and he is seen crouching in a corner. Colin is then seen unconscious and is fed. People later noticed that Colin's vines correlated to a YouTube channel called Ben's Playhouse. On this channel, which was active before Colin disappeared, viewers were exposed to some creepy stuff, but everyone just assumed it was the usual kind of staged, just for lols creepy. People started putting 2 and 2 together when they saw the cow mask in one of his videos. In a new video called New Friend Mov, someone who looks a lot like Colin appears. It seems very much like Ben has actually Colin, but then, around a year later, Colin disappears from Ben's channel, and Ben's seen flying on a plane wearing Colin's red hoodie. After he lands, he is seen stalking a new victim. Horrifying. Who else is lurking on the dark web? No, it's ISIS, and they're recruiting teenage girls at number 7. The biggest cell of our generation uses the dark web to ensnare new recruits and also to share their heinous propaganda. A lot of vulnerable young Muslims are groomed online by various sectors of the terror group. For example, in 2015, there was a very high-profile case of 3 girls from Bethnal Green in London traveling to Syria after speaking to bride groomers online. The 3 teenagers, aged between 15 and 16, fled to never return. While 2 are still missing, Khadija Sultana was killed at age 17. Of course, there was also the case of Samra Kasnovic. She was a 17-year-old blonde Australian girl who became a poster girl for in 2014 when she converted to Islam and fled to Syria. Eventually she changed her mind. She wanted out. She tried to escape and was classic. Of course, as well as grooming, there are a number of their prisoners. Coming into number 6, we have a classic. It is the Pain Olympics. I guess a lot of people my age are pretty aware of the Pain Olympics. It was the dark stuff that was going on when we were growing up. If you aren't aware though, it really was one of the first forays into the dark web. The video, popular on 4chan, shows real-life willing male genital It's a scary story. Now, the videos came from online magazine BME Zine, created by Canadian Shannon Larratt. Larratt was all about body mods, but was also diagnosed as a schizophrenic. He died of a rare muscle disease in 2013, aged 39. His ball-popping legacy, however, lives on. Again, the dark web really is filled with nasties, and things have only got worse since the original shock videos circulated in around 2002. We have another one from the dawn of the age of the shock vid. We have the horrifying story of Mr. Hands at number 5. Now this story was so nightmarish it actually led to a change in US law. Kenneth Pinion was a Boeing engineer from Washington who was a secret dark web zoophile. The 45-year-old shared images in dark web forums under the name Mr. Hands. Inspired by the zoophile community in the deep web, Pinion wanted to make a and dreamed of being by a horse. In the early 2000s, he became part of a dark web group called Zoos. Now these guys began meeting up at farms in order to engage in illicit relations with farmyard animals. In the end, he encouraged one of his zoo friends to film a video with him and a stallion on a farm in Gig Harbor, Washington. Now the video is now synonymous with the dark web, and it shows him engaging the horse. Afterwards, he unfortunately dies of his injuries. This is horrifying, and actually, Pinion's tale is a scary one as much as it is a sad one. It seems that his perversion came after a motorbike accident, after which he turned to the dark web. Following his death, the law was changed in Washington state, making illegal. Can't believe it wasn't in the first place. This is horrifying at number 4. We have Daisy's destruction. A whole heap of urban legends exist about red room sites on the dark web. Red rooms are allegedly pay-per-view movies or live videos. Basically, people pay to watch people being. For people like you and I, these red rooms are pretty hard to find, but if you're au fait with the dark web and you know where to look, apparently you can get there. One example is the case of Peter Scully, who set up a company called No Limits Fun and a site called Daisy's Destruction. Here, a baby girl was and viewers were charged up to $10,000 to watch the content. Very, very sick. Scully ran the dark website from the Philippines and apparently managed to obtain the children by promising their parents food and money. Before he was caught, he lured in an 11-year-old who was made to dig her own grave and was then buried alive. The fact that people like Australian-born Peter Scully exist is definitely terrifying, but the scariest thing about the whole story is that so many people paid to watch this content, making it a viable business option for the psychopath. Coming into number 3, we have how to cook a woman. Ugh, goody. On an Ask Reddit, someone posed the question of what the worst deep web story they'd come across was, and one person revealed that they'd stumbled upon a fetish cannibal site. Of course, there are heaps and heaps of cannibalistic content, but one Redditor, Bacon Boy Loiter, said that one day they were messing around with their friends and accidentally came across a comprehensive guide to cooking women. They wrote, "We're not talking about a short joke here." This page had information on what body types to use for specific cuts, how to prepare these cuts, and how to cook the girl so she lives as long as possible. Grim. In 2012, it was revealed that a 28-year-old NYPD officer was using the dark web and encrypted messages to conspire to kill a number of women he planned on eating. His messages were then documented and made public, and it seems that by accessing the dark web, he knew that he could get around 75 pounds of meat off a woman, and he planned to cook her over a low heat to keep her alive as soon as possible, which is actually really, really, really awful. Building on from that, we have this story of a man who willingly sold himself to a number 2. 43-year-old computer technician Bernd Brandes placed an advert online on the dark web offering himself up to be eaten alive. 42-year-old Armin Maives responded to the advertisement in 2001 after a number of years spent on forums. Soon the pair embarked upon one of the darkest, most sensational stories of modern history. Before meeting, the pair liaised on the web. Brandes and Maives, but afterwards the cannibal ate him. Now after his arrest, the described how he consumed his willing victim. He said, and I quote, "I decorated the table with nice candles. I took out my best dinner service and fried a piece of rump steak, a piece from his back. I made what I called princess potatoes and sprouts." The pair also ate Brandes' together. Eventually, Maives finished off his victim, chopped him up, filmed a large portion of them. Because his victim was willing, was only jailed for just 8 years and is now free. Ironically, he's now a vegetarian. Finally, coming into number 1, this really disturbed me. This is a real-life gritty and ongoing horror story. Beware the terrifying tale of bug chasers and gift givers. This is very, very dark. Out there on the deep web, there is a subculture of people who want to infect people with and also a whole bunch of people who want to be infected with the disease. These people use dark web forums to find one another and organize their rendezvous. Of course, knowingly infecting someone with is a crime, and wanting to receive the disease is akin to a slow burning. This subculture is mainly comprised of, but is not limited to, homosexual men. The issue is apparently especially prevalent in Denmark, where there is a strong barebacking scene. According to members of the scene, having unprotected positive person is super arousing for them. Bug chasers will have the number of people dubbed as gift givers in the hope of catching the disease. Now, sometimes the tryst will involve just one partner at a time, but other times the bug chaser will engage in with a whole handful of gift givers in one evening. While in itself this is exceptionally problematic, often this can lead to a person contracting several strains of super HIV, which makes treating the illness nigh on impossible. Some postings on bug and gift-giving sites read like this: 18-year-old twink bug chaser looking to get posed, or after months of chasing, I tested pos. High viral load, looking for neg bottoms to infect. Grim. One of many issues in the dark web bug chasing sites is that while they say that those that enter have to be 18, many younger people are joining and exposing themselves to this absolutely toxic and dangerous subculture. Coming in at number 10, we have I Summoned a Demon. There are websites on the dark web that give you details on how to summon a real demon. Whether or not you believe in this kind of thing is one thing, but accessing the deep web and taking instructions on anything is pretty risky. The demon summoning websites come from devout Satanists, and the rituals they provide to summon said demons involve sourcing risky ingredients and ritual sacrifice. Whether or not a real demon will come to greet you for your efforts is neither here nor there. Killing animals is illegal, and so are a whole bunch of the things on the sites that they're telling you to source. Also, who knows where a satanic journey could lead you. Coming into number 9, we have the wish pill. Stories from those who have visited the dark web often discuss the mysterious wish pill. The wish pill is a physical pill that you can buy from the deep web that claims to be able to make your wishes come true. Basically, you buy it, it arrives, you take it, and you wait for your wish to come true. The pill costs $100, which is a small price to pay for a wish to, come true, right? Sure, but what is even in this pill? You don't know. You certainly would find out once you took it anyway. Obviously, you can buy dangerous pills on the dark web, so maybe this is one of them. You can't exactly trust the dark web. You could have spent $100 or so on poison. Coming into number 8, we have the encouragers. This is truly awful, and it makes me feel really sad. A Quora user called KOD Amata Show replied to a thread asking the question what the most horrible thing people had seen on the dark web was. They responded by saying that they had come across a website that was solely encouraging people to honestly don't want to go into too much detail here as it's really sad and disturbing, but apparently this website was encouraging those already in a fragile state of mind and mentoring them through the process of ending their lives, which obviously is not okay. The site offers a live chat feature too, which isn't the answer. Anyone who's struggling, please don't visit a poisonous website like this. Please do speak to the Samaritans. Coming in at number 7, we have the Bitcoin heist. For some people, there is nothing scarier than losing all of their money. Bitcoin is not illegal, it's a cryptocurrency that allows for people to pay for goods and services anonymously. While it is true that Bitcoin is legal, it's also true that it can be used to pay for things that are strictly illegal. Bitcoin fueled the dark web drug site Silk Road, for example. Now the problem with Bitcoin is, like any other currency, it's vulnerable to theft, but it is a lot harder than physical money to get back or be compensated for. In this year, 2018 alone, $1.1 billion of Bitcoin have been stolen by cyber pirates. Also in January 2018, deep web hackers stole 530 million of a Japanese cryptocurrency called NEM. Coming into number 6, we have dead girls. It seems that one Redditor stumbled across a dark website that indexed dead females. The site is aptly and grossly called Dead Girls. Worse still, the pictures of between 5 to 16, which is absolutely vile. The Redditor goes on to say that there are a number of creepypastas associated with the deep website that say the pictures of the girls are haunted. They also say that their ghosts will continue to torment you after you've finished looking at their images. Whether or not their ghosts will actually taunt you, I'm certain that those kind of images will stay with you for a long time. Coming into number 5, we have the Anarchist Cookbook and other banned reading material. By and large, freedom of speech hinders any kind of potential book banning, although lines are drawn when it comes to books that give how-to guides on illegal practices. One such book famously is the Anarchist's Cookbook. The original book was published in 1971 and gave instructions on how to make it, how to manufacture your own illegal, including and how to hack phones and the like. The book was outlawed but is very accessible on the dark web, along with many updated documents and pages. Even the writer of the book itself, William Powell, deeply regretted publishing the book because of its potential to ruin lives. Coming into number 4, we have the dating site. The deep web is home to all kinds of grim websites showcasing behavior and beliefs that are not accepted and supported on the surface web. In the majority of the world, and most strictly the Western world, is illegal, but that doesn't mean that people don't feel and act on depraved urges. They just stick to the fringes of society and the fringes of the internet, the dark web. Deep amid the haze of the deep web, there are forums for casuals and sections for new teaching them the tricks of the trade, so to speak. Back in the early 2000s, there was a website called which facilitated the meeting between Armin Maiweis and Bernd Brandes. Maiweis, of course, ended up consensually Brandes and eating him. The pair even made a videotape which can also be found on the dark web, although I don't recommend looking for it. Coming into number 3, we have How to Kill. Those who have ventured onto the dark web have returned with stories of coming across nasty things like assassin sites where you can hire people to kill for you, although of course these sites charge quite the premium. It seems that there are cheaper ways to off someone using the dark web. Deep divers have reported coming across very detailed web pages on how to Now, a lot of these are very in-depth pages, and they were found on Angora Road, which was a dark website like Silk Road. This was taken down in 2015, but archives still exist, as do the posts. I've actually come across some with names like The Basics of Terminating Human Life. I found an edited and archived version on the surface web that detailed how to using an automobile as a weapon. This article gives in-depth instructions on how and where to strike people. Now, given the growing spate of van attacks, this is especially worrying. Coming into number 2, we have The Phone Call. This is a short and to-the-point story from a Redditor who was freaked out by the dark web. They wrote that they downloaded a tour and 20 minutes in, they got a mystery phone call, but there was no one there on the other line when they answered. They said it happened one more time and they were so freaked out that they stopped right there and quit the dark web forever. To this day, they still do not know who or what was calling and whether it had anything to do with the deep web. Finally, coming into number 1, now this could apply to all of us with a webcam, we have You Are Being Watched. It isn't all murder streams on the dark web, sometimes they're just normal streams of people doing normal stuff, only they don't know they're being watched. A number of people have fallen foul of malware to have their laptops or desktop cameras hacked. This means that hackers can see through the camera as long as the computer is on and spy on you. But of course, spying is one thing, being unwittingly broadcast is another entirely. The dark web is filled with streams of people, often women, who don't know the number of creeps are watching them. They could be doing anything, you know, just chilling out on their beds, or they could be undressing. It isn't just webcams that are susceptible to hackers either. Security cameras can be hacked too. In 2014, a Russian site emerged on the deep web with links to live streams of webcam footage from across the world, and this included images of babies and hospital patients. What is even worse, sometimes incriminating footage on the dark web has been used to blackmail people into paying money or doing horrible things. Honestly, Facebook creator Mark Zuckerberg covers his webcam with duct tape, and you know what? You should probably do the same.
But coming in at number 10, the mystery boxes. Already sounds a bit scary, a bit shady, but alright. No, this was a really dangerous trend started by YouTubers. Back in August, a whole bunch of popular creators were ordering mystery boxes off the dark web. You know, as you do. This included Ice Poseidon, who got a mystery USB stick, I'm Jay Station, who paid $1,000 for a box of entrails, and you know, I can probably think of maybe 1 or 2 ways he could have better used that money, but sure. And Killam, who received a teddy bear, a voodoo doll, a satanic children's book, a dismembered doll with every single one of those little parts, and what looked like a in a parcel delivered to his P.O. box. Still unconfirmed on whether, you know, that weapon was used or unused when it was received, and I'm not too sure about that, or whether I want to find out. While some of the YouTubers may not have been totally honest in how they obtained the box, some of them seemed pretty damn real. As the YouTubers were garnering millions of views, it's a potential cause for concern for their younger viewers who are more impressionable and may, you know, want to copy them, also ordering, you know, mystery boxes off the dark web and also receiving things they really probably shouldn't be receiving. but you don't want that on the dark web, and you don't want your address floating on the dark web either.
Hip hip hooray, what have we got at number 9? Oh, human meat. According to numerous sources, it is perfectly possible to find human meat recipes on the internet, and not only that, it is possible to source said human meat. Grim. Redditor Bacon Boy Loiter wrote that one day he accessed the dark web and found a comprehensive guide to cook women. They continued by saying this page had information on what body parts to use for specific cuts, how to prepare these cuts, and how to cook the girl so she lives as long as possible. Right. Also, when researching this video, I found a video on YouTube called Deep Web Recording of a So yeah, it's number 9 and I think I'm done.
Coming in at number 8, recruiters. Right, because that's the first thing you think of when you think dark web. Do a lot of recruiting on the dark web because apparently that's the most reliable place for employees these days, and here I am updating my LinkedIn every single day. In 2015, it was first announced that using a Tor hidden service to host an propaganda site. A forum associated gave instruction on how to access the darknet site. Using the clever inscriptions of the dark web, ISIS are making themselves less traceable and hindering the FBI and other law enforcements from finding them. Great, because it was already so easy to find them in the first place. EU Representative Beatrice Breton said activities on the surface web are now being monitored closely, and the decision by a number of governments to take down or filter extremist content has forced the jihadists to look for new online safe havens. But who said the dark web was a safe haven to begin with? Anybody? Definitely not me.
Continuing on at number 6, we have red rooms. The dark web has red rooms according to a plethora of Reddit posts anyway. Red room is the name given to a stream, and already I don't want to continue with this point. One redditor, Draodan, posted on the No Sleep forum with their story of experiencing a red room. They said that their story goes way back to 2006 when they were 16 and they first accessed the dark web. They wrote that they initially found it using a Tor and they clicked on a .onion link. The dark web uses .onions as their links. I think it's some kind of joke about the deep layers of the web. I don't know, I haven't been there. So basically at this point in his life he was enjoying the dark web in an entertaining kind of teenage way, but then unfortunately things got real. He and his mates would spur each other on and encourage one another to click on horrible things. He then talks about the one thing that made him uninstall the Tor and never visit the dark web again. He clicked on a link that said Red Room going live soon. Hit with a wave of emotion, he said he decided to click on that link. In his post he writes, "What I saw is exactly what has been described by other accounts that have been posted. As such, bringing up the more gory no sleep bits is a bit hard for me to think about, let alone write. Details will be omitted." He continues by saying that he saw a woman with a pillowcase over her head. A male host asked what people wanted to see and do to her, and donations started flooding in for her. He said that one donator paid $500 for her to be. The post ends with the guy saying that he still thinks about what he saw and wonders if it was truly real. Honestly, I really hope it wasn't, but this is the dark web.
At number 5 we have Sad Satan Game. Already I don't like the sound of this, so let's just see how this goes. The Sad Satan Game has become a bit of a dark web urban legend. Part of the game was uploaded to the YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner and has been watched nearly 3 million times. That's a lot of people and a lot of views. The game itself is a dark mystery, with the YouTubers saying they were given it by an anonymous subscriber who found it on the deep web. Not a shady source at all. So far as we know, the game includes a lot of footage of Jimmy Savile, images of President John F. Kennedy Jr. moments before his and audio clips of maniac Charles Manson. And for that extra cherry on top, there are also images of him could measure. Perfect, just my favorite mix of people all in one place. There are also a lot of encrypted messages in the game that one Reddit user has claimed to have cracked. They think it says, "I can track you and again." Right. Coming in at number 4 is Pink. Now ironically, considering it is on the dark web, Pink has nothing to do with the nothing at all. Is that even a I'm not really sure. This awful encrypted deep website is a That's right guys, keep your safe, please. The site allows people to upload images of their exes and categorize them so that people can search using their name, age, tattoos, and more. a serious issue and is very illegal. A girl posted on Reddit that she had been getting weird friend requests from random guys in random countries and was worried that she may be on this site, and turns out she was. Many victims of consider, sadly, a lot of them go through with it. I mean, who would want those images on the web to begin with?
Coming into number 3, we have the medical tests. Chris of Constant answered a Reddit thread that asked Redditors' darkest experience of the deep web. Alarmingly, they said that they came across an advertisement for medical services. Sounds legit, right? Well, this is the dark web, so no, not legit. The Redditor wrote that the medical company had warehouses filled with people in different countries. Some of these people were victims of trafficking, others were homeless and plucked off the streets in major cities like New York. The Redditor wrote that not only were the medical company organ harvesting, they were also offering inhumane medical experimentations on their so-called test subjects. Coming into number 2, this is so awful I really don't even want to talk about it. We have the destruction of Daisy. This is absolutely horrific. This is kind of a continuation of the idea of red rooms that we talked about earlier, although luckily the perpetrator behind this has been caught and jailed. Daisy's destruction were a selection of videos from the dark web that showed adult children. The video has often been dubbed as one of the worst things on the dark web, which is some accolade. Some people streamed the videos for up to $10,000. One of the most notorious videos was of a baby. I think that honestly we're gonna leave that one there, although I will say a police officer in Sydney, where the perpetrator Peter Scully was caught, called the footage one of the worst things that they'd ever encountered in their professional career. Are you even ready for number 1? I'm kind of terrified.
The list was already bad enough. I don't want to see what's at number 1, but at number 1 we have a teen. In 2017, a 19-year-old boy 2 people and posted details about it on the dark web. Marcel Hess shared microblog style updates about what he was doing and declaring he was making. In one message he posted on a chat room saying, "I have cut off in the hand as I fought the 120-kilogram beast." What beast is he talking about exactly? He then posted pictures of his and took a selfie of himself covered in blood. He shared further images of the crime scene and his victims, one of which was 9 years old.
That is like genuinely horrendous.
Apparently, when his sister went to visit him in jail, he started screaming, "I am 4chan." I'm sorry?
He sounds like an absolute idiot, but a murdering idiot at that.
When Marcel was arrested, he was carrying a bag of onions, presumably a nod to the dark web.
Honestly, it sounds like a bit of a messed up place for some messed up people. I don't want to go to the dark web. Coming into number 10, we have Blank Room Soup. Blank Room Soup is purportedly a dark web video leaked onto the surface web. Now I can't verify that, but the video is hella terrifying. We see a blindfolded man sitting at a table, crying and eating what looks like noodle soup. A big giant costume comes waltzing in with a scary kind of silent, creepy atmosphere. He comes and comforts the man, and the man starts crying and gagging, and soon enough another big costume of a featureless man comes in and pats him on the back too. The video is just 1 minute long, but it is absolutely terrifying. Theories surrounding the video are rife, not least on Reddit. Some say that the big costumes we see here were stolen from an actor who had something to do with this man's capture. All the theories seem to indicate that the soup eater is in some kind of peril. Some even say he's being forced to eat the soup that's laced with poison, meaning he'll die soon. Others are convinced that this is an art project. Let's have a final look, shall we? Coming in at number 9, we have Hamburger Lady. Now she is not as fun as she sounds. Who is the Hamburger Lady? I don't know. All I do know is that she is horrifying, and I like the sound of her. Hamburger Lady is a video that surfaced from the dark web 3 or so years ago. Now I have no idea how long it was below the surface for, but unfortunately it's here now. The video is spooky, and not just visually but audibly too. It's filled with chaotic and disorientating sounds, as well as a jumble of sentences, signs and signals. The captions spin a dark tale, saying that the mysterious Hamburger Lady is from the waist up and she can't hold on to things. The video also discusses the tubes in her arms and flashes up scary images of a girl in a mask. I have no idea what it means, and honestly, I don't care to. Coming into number 7, we have Corpus Christus. So this translates to the body of Christ, and I am not feeling this video's vibes, although I guess I'd be surprised if I was feeling any deep web video. It isn't really my bag. My bag's mainly filled with cute puppy videos and videos from my friend Molly Burke. Anyway, this video is creepy. It shows images of men and I don't know, maybe the same man being tested on. The man's face changes from young to like weird and haggard, and I can't really tell if this is real life or animation or stop motion or a combination of all of them. Here is one of my least favourite clips. Things get creepy in the background too. The video culminates with the experimentation getting even worse and worse with like a mouth cage thing. There are some wires in the head as well, I'm not sure what they're about. And finally, the corpus, the body, is ripped open at the chest by a strange spidery machine, and to be honest, I'm not a fan. This next video is short but really scary. Be warned, at number 6 we have the unknown creature grabs a baby. So this video is just 26 seconds long and all of the action happens in the last 2 seconds. Before that, we're watching a video of a baby in what looks like a crib or something. The child seems like it's around the yearish mark, although it's quite hard to tell because the quality of the video isn't that great. The child is goo-goo and gargaring to itself when all of a sudden, well, watch. If we play that back, I do notice that the scary hand slips through the back of the cot just before the baby is grabbed and stolen away. Now the thing that worries me about this video is that I can't see a cut. I really hope it's fake, because even if this isn't a real monster or creature, grabbing a baby like that just isn't okay. Coming into number 5, we have Sad Satan. I feel like Sad Satan could sponsor Most Amazing Top 10. We've mentioned this video quite a lot. Sad Satan is purportedly a dark web video game that comes with a curse, although I'm not sure what that curse is, it's just cursed. Nondescript curses are my favourite. Some redditors who have attempted to decode the game say that it is providing. Others also think that when the game was originally on the dark web, it gave details of the player's whereabouts to a malicious group who could then track the gamer. YouTube channel Obscure Horror Corner lived up to their name when they shared a scary screen recording of the game playthrough on their channel, and honestly, it looks really intense. Far too intense for me. I think Spyro the Dragon is the crux of my gaming. It also sounds intense, and like honestly I don't like that. In the dark web video game, the player is walking down a shady alley and horrible radio signals start coming through. During the gameplay, from time to time, a blank screen appears with strange markings. Finally, at the end of the game, it cuts to a black screen in which the phrase "suffering doesn't end" appears. Great, let's just hope that that's a dramatic effect. Coming in at number 4, we have the Grifter. I do not like a close-up eyeball shot. No, I don't. Not only is the Grifter said to be from the dark web, it is also said to be cursed. Only a small section of the original video has reportedly been leaked to the surface web, and if the 67-second clip we can see is anything to go by, then you don't want to see the whole thing. But like, actually. According to 4chan, the most credible of sources, if you watch the whole video, you're at risk of being the 4chan post said that the video came into circulation in 2008 and that those who watched it experienced nausea and nightmares. Some claim to have had their souls altered. A creepypasta based on the footage claims that those who have watched the full video have been great. So I'm not sure if that's the case. I'd still say that this video is probably nothing more than a creepy video, but it just isn't worth the risk. Coming into number 3, we have Cemetery. This video warns viewers not to watch it as it will enter their unconscious, and having seen this monstrosity, I think that we should all have heeded the video's advice. The video is just shy of 2 minutes long and is all kinds of religious and cemetery kind of satanic footage. What it means, I don't really know, and what it is doing on the dark web, well, I'd rather not speculate. Shall we have another look? Go on then. Okay, but I actually really don't like how this video ends. Coming in at number 2, we have Obedece a la Morsa. Weirdly, it seems that the title of this video is Spanish for Obey the Walrus. What walrus? Who is the walrus? I am the walrus. Cuckoo, Choo. No, Rebecca, now isn't the time for singing the Beatles, although I wish it was, because it would mean I'm not in this video. Now actually is the time for freaking out, because this video is too creepy for words. Although actually, this isn't the Most Amazing Top 10 hand gestures, so I guess I'll try and use words to describe this dark web creep fest. So basically, word on this surface web is that La Morsa is a Latin cult. Is this their indoctrination video? I don't know. The video starts off with an animated face singing a nursery rhyme, and then all of that gets distorted and we see like kaleidoscope colours. We then see what looks like an emaciated transgender dancer with horrifyingly jarring movements and wide eyes. They're also wearing a clown hat, which doesn't fly with me. The scariest moment is when the music cuts and this happens to the sound of a clock ticking. what is this walrus and why is it here? Now this video has had over 25 million views. Are there 25 million people in the walrus cult now? Finally, coming into number 1, heavy audience warning. This is really horrifying. I don't like it, but this is the number 1. It's a Russian. I don't even know how to begin pronouncing the name of this video. Here it is written down on the screen for you. Can anyone from Russia watching translate this? Would I have read the title and been like, okay, not gonna watch it, because if so, knowing Russian would have been really handy. This video is extremely long and extremely disturbing. It's over an hour and a half, and I can't even show you the worst parts because we simply can't air this content on YouTube. I can't speak Russian, so I can't tell you what exactly is going on, but to me, it seems like Russian prisoners are forced to defend themselves on camera and then at one point a man in military wear poos on a plate, and actually it sounds funny, but trust me, it really isn't. The video ends in a lot of bloodshed, and I have to say it is one of the worst videos I've ever seen in my life, and no part of me doubts its authenticity. I wish I could go back in time and never ever watch it, but you clicked on this video, so you asked for this.